Hey everybody, this is Brad Bruce, and I'm here with
Jase Marsiglia.
and you're listening to the 5195 podcast, episode number 10.
We're in the double digits now, bro.
Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good.
Pretty good. That's
Yeah.
an accomplishment.
Definitely want to keep it fun
Yeah. I think we need to pick me up.
a little bit.
Last week was like talking through a dark cloud. You know?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I think maybe, how about we have some fun with some movies?
I'm down with that.
Okay. So I know, like, at the beginning of this whole thing, as kids, we were talking Raiders, E.T., Creepshow, Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
What else was kind of in that list? Let's not even go start naming them off, but let's just say, like, we'll pick like a couple more.
Ones that lit kind of a fuse of some sort?
Or that just kept it burning. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
That just, like,
If you ever felt it starting to wane and this one kind of lit the pilot again.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'm down with that, man.
because it's funny because, like, again, obviously, like you said, and we do gravitate more towards horror.
We do. That's our comfort zone.
Yeah. I think what's cool about it is, as we've gotten older and we do have all these films under our belt, we have something in the horror community that not many other genres have. And there are some, but not like this. And those are horror conventions.
Yeah.
You get to actually see and talk to the people that created and star in these films.
Yes.
That was super cool for me,
Oh, me too.
because it's like, obviously it's not like I was the only one, because you were as well, but huge George Romero fan.
Yeah.
I mean, huge. Like, I remember you came out one time and you were wearing a shirt of Romero.
I was?
Yeah.
What was the shirt? I forget.
Dad of the Dead.
Yes. Yes. It was kind of green.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
thing is like,
Yep.
couldn't have been more true.
Yeah.
He, for me, was everything in film.
Yeah.
Like, especially zombie film.
Imagine, if you will, that the most frightening things on Earth are about to come out of the darkness. They will look surprisingly like your neighbors, your friends, your family.
This situation must be controlled before it's too late. They are multiplying too rapidly.
Now accept the fact that there's no escaping the awful consequences.
We've got to survive. Somebody's got to survive.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Dawn of the Dead.
They must be destroyed on sight.
There is nothing you can do to stop it. It's too late. It's coming to a theater near you. Dawn of the Dead contains scenes of violence that may be considered shocking. No one under 17 will be admitted. Dawn of the Dead from United Film Distributing Company.
He embraced it, but he did do other things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm a huge fan of Knight Riders.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Dug it. I loved it.
He's not a one-trick pony.
Not at all. Not at all.
And again, like us, his proclivities were more horror.
Yeah,
He branched out,
he did.
but he didn't make the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
He was even stuff like Martin, it's a vampire movie. Season of the Witch. There's always Vanilla. He was all over the
And even
place.
further than that, found out recently from reading the Lee Carr,
Oh, the making of Creepshow 2.
yeah, that he was doing like sports documentaries.
Oh, yeah. Just little Pittsburgh
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
you
local
know.
stuff, but nevertheless,
Yes.
cutting his teeth on becoming a filmmaker.
Yep. He did a lot of stuff in conjunction with like the local news and stuff. I know, I forget where I saw it. It might be not the Document of the Dead, but the other documentary. I think it's called The Dead Will Rise.
Okay.
I want to say that's the documentary that came out in like 03 or 04 that was on the big Dawn of the Dead Anchor Bay.
The black one.
The fold
with
out.
The red.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say they were doing stuff like Calgon commercials and stuff like that.
Where they were shrinking them down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that was just, the Latent Image was his company.
Yeah.
And they were kind of the jack of all trades in Pittsburgh, man. It was
Yeah.
just like, if you want it done cheap and you want it done quick and you want it done good, go call the Latent Image. Those guys know their shit,
I thought it was funny because when I really was like face to name on the box was during DVD with commentary behind the scenes, special features.
Oh, yeah.
Anchor Bay's like putting out special features.
Yes.
And it was actually, besides Fangoria, knew what he really looked like, but like his personality, who he was, discovering him on DVD.
Yeah.
He was 1,000 times cooler than I even thought.
Yes.
And
funny.
super funny.
Guy was hilarious.
And like a giant teddy bear.
Oh, yeah. Sweet as could be.
And it's like we're sitting here talking about him like we knew him. Now, we both have met him.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
like me, lucky enough, working for a couple of online websites, review websites, I had a really cool opportunity to actually sit down with him, like in a hotel room and just kind of like hang out and just talk.
Yes.
It was just cool because during Survival of the Dead, when it was coming out, is when this all happened. It was like 05.
Yeah.
Okay. And I took all of my information back to my office and just started making this article. Really spent some time on it, put it out there. And then some of his people had seen it and they showed him and he reached out.
Wow.
Again, after we had talked, he reached out and literally was just like, because I was younger, but he just knew I cared, like so many of his fans do. And he just was saying, I want to thank you.
Wow.
That something I've done means that much to you.
Yes.
And so we were the first website that he gave us the teaser trailer for Survival of the Dead.
Really? You got the exclusive?
Yeah, to play at the top of the article.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like so badass, And so it's like the love and like admiration I had for him prior intensified.
Of course.
And it was just like everything Romero, and it was so...
Well, it's the antithesis of never meet your heroes. Not only was he nice, he was supportive of
Supportive,
you.
yeah.
So cool.
And you know what? A lot of the horror community is like that. It's a very supportive group.
I have a theory about that too.
Okay.
Because horror, is extremely hard work for very little reward. Critics have a field day with you.
Yeah.
They just, if it's a horror movie, you fucking suck before you've even started. And people, it's like the only genre that people will vehemently oppose. Like, that's trash.
Right.
Horror movies are trash.
So easily.
I don't watch trash.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you go to these conventions and you throw a handshake at a George Romero or a Jeffrey Combs or a Kane Hodder, you go to these things and they thank you back. And I feel like it's because they're always under a certain amount of criticism just for existing within that genre. So when you have a genre that gets so barbed by criticism, it's like, does it make you more appreciative of the people who really appreciate the work you put in?
I'd say it does.
Because, I know there's other like I always joke that you don't see a convention for 50 Shades of Grey, you don't see a Police Academy convention, but there's other conventions that just take other pop culture things and just corral them.
Yeah, Comic-Con.
Comic-Con. We have one in Michigan called Astronomicon, which is kind of an amalgam.
Yeah.
And granted, like, horror conventions are pretty much the thing. Comic conventions being probably the only equal. But when it comes to pop culture, I've been to conventions where you could meet people from like The Office.
Yeah.
Which is a huge show. I don't think anyone from The Office, they might say, hey, thanks for coming by. You know, thanks for talking to me. I don't think that they appreciate, I'm not saying that they don't appreciate their fans. That I'm sure they do. But I don't think anyone from The Office has ever dealt with what a Kane Hodder has dealt with. Or a Sean Cunningham. Or a Betsy Palmer, when the critics literally gave her a home address out, so that you could mail shitty letters to her. How dare you? You know, horror is so maligned that I feel like horror conventions, they come out there because they know we get it. We get it, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we know how hard it is to make a horror film because... even if we're not filmmakers, we read Fangoria.
Yeah.
Or we clicked through the bonus features on a DVD or something. Yeah. And we know that, and we also read reviews. Yeah. A lot of us do. I've kind of tapered back on that because nowadays I just don't want to know anything about a movie before I go in. I just find that better. But most of the time we'll read a review because I know me. If I see a horror movie got like certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, I know I got to see it. I don't let critics steer my opinion, but again, horror movies are so easy to beat up on, such easy prey. That when critics unanimously like one, I'm like, well, damn. Because usually this is fish in a barrel for you guys.
Yeah.
I just figured you guys would have shat all over it. You know? So when critics all like a movie, I have one of two thoughts. Either it's going to fucking suck because they found something good in it, or it's got to be pretty fucking good because these people don't like horror.
Yeah.
Mostly, you know. I mean, I'm not going to go to Fangoria waiting to hear, Michael Gingold or whatever. He's going to beat the shit out of this one. Yeah. No, he's a horror fan that works for a horror publication. So we're already in the same boat.
Yeah.
His opinion, cool as it is, I'm probably going to agree with you anyway. But a Roger Ebert, a Richard Roper, Pauline Kael, the people who were doling out 1 stars and turkeys and, the Leonard Maltons out there who just, what the hell was this? It was a waste of my time. When they like it, I perk up a little bit because I'm like, what was so good about this one to convert your opinion a little bit? That turns my head. I've gotten to the point now just because I'm too old to give a shit and don't really have the time to read or whatever and not really that interested. I do like Rotten Tomatoes because I'll read a blurb. I'm good with a blurb. And a thumbs up or a 3 out of 4, whatever. And even my Instagram page, my personal Instagram page, I've been writing reviews for a while and I just post them. I usually do star rating up to 4. That's how TV Guide used to be. It was either shit, okay, good, or awesome. I don't go to 10 because it's just like, what is this? Okay, mild, okay, great. It's just too wide a net. It's either shit, okay, good, or awesome in my opinion. Yeah. So I rate out of 4. I don't expect anybody to use me as a template for an opinion, and I mostly use my Instagram as like a journal. It's just, this is kind of what I'm watching this week, and this is what I thought revisiting it. So,
and the stuff that you write on there, it isn't a critique. It's not. There's opinions.
Sure.
Your opinions.
Because I've shat on a few.
Yeah, but I still don't look at it as critic-based.
No?
No, I don't. I look at it as just an honest explanation.
Sure.
Because the critics, they go for the throat.
They do.
And you're just being honest about this stuff.
True. And that's the thing. I know critics, I'm not getting paid to put my review out there.
Yeah.
I don't have my word count is how many characters I'm allowed to go up to. So I'm not writing a column. It's not going out to millions. But critics, it's fun to beat up a movie.
Yeah.
Writing a bad review, I'll even admit, is kind of fun because you're just taking it to the cleaners. Writing a good review is hard because you feel like you're fawning. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah.
this is so good, you should watch it. You know,
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to tell you why it's good without spoiling, but if it's bad, I still try to find something positive to say, so I'm not just dismissing the movie. I did watch it.
You did recently with the Fog remake.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Because every April 21st, I watch The Fog.
A solitary woman on a deserted beach in an unprotected lighthouse. A helpless child alone in the dark in an isolated cottage. Two innocent people about to encounter the fog. From the creator of Halloween, a study in unrelenting terror. John Carpenter's The Fog, rated R.
Yeah.
Just because that's the date of the crashing of the Elizabeth Dane. Mm-hmm. I'm such a Fog fan.
Yeah.
And that goes into our topic about movies that kind of lit another fire other than the ones we talked about in episode 1.
Just kept stoking it.
Yeah. The Fog's one of them.
Yeah.
I love The Fog. I think it's one of John Carpenter's best movies. I actually like it more than Halloween. And I love Halloween. Like, I'm a diehard Halloween.
Okay.
But something about The Fog, something about the water, the coastal area, the ghosts, it feels like a campfire story. And there's something about it that creeps me out even more than Michael Myers.
I get it.
But everything from the score on up is perfect. I love The Fog. So when I heard it was being remade back in 2005, 6, something, whatever, I scoffed. I mean, this was during the big remake parade of the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm like, of course they're remaking The fucking Fog, And I'll admit, the first time I saw it, I went into it like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. What do you got? Fuck you. And of course I walked out of the theater like, yeah, fucking assholes. This is stupid. What I've been doing lately, these reviews, I'm not just writing based on what I remember. Even if it's a movie I didn't like, I really hated, I'm going to give it a fresh set of eyes. I'm going to go in with no opinion. And in this case, I watched The Fog like I always do, every April 21st. And I was like, you know what? It's funny. This is OCD. I do reviews in groups of 3 because of Instagram's, just their structure. It's boom, boom, boom. Everything's rows of 3. So if I'm going to do a big retrospective, I'll try to find a way to make, like, say the Amityville horror series. There's 8 core movies. I'm going to do the remake too because it's 9 now. So I've got 3 perfect rows of Amityville.
Fill in your slots.
So in this case, I'm like, okay, there's only 2 Fog movies. What else do I do? And so I'm like, obviously I need to rewatch the remake just to get a fresh take. And then I think I threw other shit on there. Like, I think I reviewed the Waxwork Records soundtrack.
You did.
Just
and
just to
the
get
story that he tells at the beginning.
Oh yeah. That was a post,
And that made the 6.
Just the story of
the Elizabeth Dane. Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, I went into the Fog remake with a new set of eyes. I think this was the first time I seen the unrated cut, even though I'd owned it for years, because I saw it at the theater. And I watched it, and going in with shitty expectations didn't really improve, but it didn't make me mad or let me down the way it did the first time. So like you were saying, you told me, I think you were kind. You were being nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, kinda, but at the same time, I don't want to just kick a movie while it's down. I looked for something positive this time. I tried. And what I came away from was basically Selma Blair. I think she holds the movie together wonderfully.
Yeah.
And it was more faithful to the original than I thought it was. There's parts that are like, oh, they did do that scene. Oh, they did say that line. And it's like, it's a semi-faithful remake. It's just bland. It just exists. It's just kind of stupid.
A lot of 2000s movies were, though.
They were, and it was just remaking something wasn't like, because I've kind of resigned myself. We went through so many remakes. We're going to get back to remakes in a minute because there's another movie I have to talk to you about in this topic. I started looking at remakes as not so much a cover version of a great song, but a game of telephone. If you heard a story and then it scared you or made you laugh, whatever, and then you processed the story and went and told someone else, you remade the story. It's still the same story. It's a little different because it's with your interpretation of it now.
Yeah, your perspective.
And I just started looking at remakes that way, as someone else is telling me a story I already heard, just the way they processed it. And it kind of made me a little fairer on remakes. I still don't particularly like them, but I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, if I look at it that way, it keeps me from bitching. Because, yeah, it's just a game of telephone.
That is a really clever way to think about it, and I never would have thought about it like that.
It's my only way to rationalize watching a remake.
Yeah.
Especially to a movie that I love. Because to me, a movie that you love so much, like Jaws or The Fog or Creepshow, it becomes untouchable.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want anyone to fuck with this sacred thing. Mm-hmm. So, of course, when the remakes were being churned out like crazy, I started looking at the ones that haven't been remade, and I'm like, oh, God, it's going to happen. Gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, they're remaking Halloween, so that means somebody out there's going, what else did John Carpenter do? You know, and it's just, you dread it. And I'm like, fuck. And I'd go in, and to be honest, I wasn't giving them a fair shake because I'm already guarded. Like, they're going to shit on my childhood. This is going to be fucking terrible. So I just kind of convinced myself that it's like, you know, Johnny Cash remaking 9 Inch Nails. You remember Hurt? Amazing. It doesn't make the old version disappear.
Right.
It's not replacing it. It's still there. And if you'd rather watch that one or hear that version, go ahead. But,
For me?
yeah.
I'd rather hear that one.
Johnny's? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But I mean, it's one of those deals where if you look at it like a cover song or just someone else telling you the story,
Yeah.
it seems a little bit more fair.
Yeah.
I think you go in with a different expectation.
Not as harsh.
Right.
Not as how dare you.
Yeah. Whereas, don't get me wrong, there's been some I've revisited with that mindset, and I'm still like, fuck you. You fucking suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't completely wash, you know, the opinion away. Sometimes I've gone into ones that I thought were okay, and they don't hold up even that good anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So, it winds up being the story where when you go to tell someone else, you're just like, they fucked it up. They didn't tell it right. You know what I mean? They just didn't tell it right.
Yeah.
So that's my take on remakes. And, you know, just to come back to it, yeah, The Fog is a movie that when I'm it's chicken soup. If I'm depressed, I can put on The Fog and I'm in Antonio Bay. I'm up in the lighthouse and I'm by the water and I'm just, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like a warm bath. And I chill immediately. You know what I mean? I'm so chill. And it makes me kind of want to go, I should go get a pen and paper. This is giving me an idea. You know? I can always go to that well.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Fog is one of mine that it's another pilot that I can light. You know? Obviously Creepshow, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T. and Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Those were those are the furnace. Mm-hmm. That's what built it. The Fog is another pilot light.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of mine.
That's cool. Like another one for me, because it is just so good, and it's a very different film than E.T. and Dawn of the Dead, and it's The Lost Boys.
In California, you'll find fun, romance, and vampires. She's one of them! Better give yourself a garlic t-shirt, buddy.
You gonna eat pizza?
No, why?
Ooh, you smell like garlic.
Lost Boys. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 31st.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, because I'm getting back into comic books.
Yes.
It's rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's like badass dudes. You know what I mean?
I mean,
It's like,
seriously, it's like if Whitesnake were a bunch of vampires.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
real.
mean? It's
Yeah.
it's the big hair.
Yeah.
You know, there's this Def Leppard vibe,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's they're on bikes. They're all bikers, you know?
yeah.
And, yeah, I could totally see that.
It's fun. Mm-hmm. And it's also dark.
Yeah, very.
You know, but it gets the creative energy going as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of shit I want to make. You know,
Yeah.
these kind of movies. Like, so there are like pin in a board. Okay, there's this one.
Yeah.
This is like the recipe
If
for
I
who
can,
I want to be.
If
You
I
know,
can achieve that feeling, good.
yeah.
You know.
there are so many '80s movies, and there are good ones and there's bad ones. Mm-hmm. But then there's like standout ones. You know,
Yeah.
like. Another one, I guess, which is like, you know, it's PG-13. Why, I don't fucking know, but Poltergeist.
Don't adjust the television set. Your reception's fine. But in their new suburban home, the Freeling family has tuned into something beyond our world. Poltergeist. You'll never look at your television set the same way again. Poltergeist, a Steven Spielberg production, rated PG.
Now playing at a theater near you, check newspapers.
That's PG.
Oh, it's PG.
2 years prior to PG-13, and for some reason didn't get anyone's panties in a twist. And to me, Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, we mentioned a couple episodes back, those are the two movies that people kind of freaked out about and spurned the PG-13. I think Poltergeist is arguably scarier than both of them. Poltergeist is
Hands down.
terrifying.
Hands down.
movie.
Yeah.
To me, that's up there with Jaws, which is
Yeah.
also PG, where its intensity alone should make it worse.
You know, Dawn of the Dead, it was, you're thrown into this world and you're like in this mall and you're trying to survive. And with Poltergeist, I didn't feel safe because it was at home.
It's in your bedroom. It's in your closet. It's in your television. There's no
escape.
escaping Poltergeist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, and it's also, it's like when you add all that together with those images, it's absolutely terrifying.
It is.
I mean, and of course we're going to do the in the sink,
Oh yeah.
you know, and it's like, so now I'm even more blown away because I would automatically just assume, oh, it's a PG-13.
no,
It should be an R.
probably.
It should, just with that gore alone.
The gore-
I cannot believe that like the MPAA said, yeah, this is a PG.
The only reason I think is because of Spielberg's involvement. If Spielberg wasn't a producer and wasn't the golden calf cinema at that time, I think they would have dragged Tobe Hooper across the rails. I really
You're
do.
probably right. So he almost got a pass.
I feel like he got a pass because everyone was like, Spielberg is involved. It's okay. It's okay. Spielberg doesn't make bad things. He's not scary.
That's intense.
That's a theory.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
because Toby, every other movie he did was dragged across the ratings board. Didn't matter how innocuous. I mean, granted, like Invaders from Mars, that's a PG-13, but it just is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't watch that one and go, yeah, boy, the ratings board must have really hated Louise Fletcher gobbling a fucking frog. You
Yeah.
know? No, but movies, Texas Chainsaw 2, which is obviously going to be R, had to be trimmed. You know, Life Force, what the fuck are you doing? It's got to be trimmed. You know, it's just Toby couldn't catch a break because he came in with a built-in notoriety because of a movie he made in 74. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're the guy who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm going to take an extra special look at you,
Yeah.
even though that movie is arguably not very graphic. You
Right,
know, it's
right.
notoriously not graphic. So Poltergeist, I'm like, yeah, you've got Spielberg's name attached. We're not even going to watch. We trust you.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
trust you. He's a producer. He's steering the ship. He's not going to let you go crazy. But the thing is, he went crazy.
Right.
Poltergeist is a fucking night. It makes my hair stand straight up when the little boy, Carol Ann's brother, when he comes in from outside after being eaten, for lack of a better term, by the tree.
Yeah.
He comes in, covered in blood, scratches. I don't know. He's covered in all kinds of shit. The way he starts screaming for his mother.
Oh, yeah.
When he hears Carol Ann in the TV, it doesn't sound like a kid acting. It's like your hunches go up.
Yeah.
You're like, this kid is fucking terrified. Why? And where is she? Holy shit. And like the mom almost has to slap him just to get him to talk, because he's in hysterics. Mm-hmm. And it is just, it's one of those movies that's just, it's so uncompromisingly scary, And no, I 100% agree with you on that.
It's fantastic. I think it's fantastic.
I do too.
Yeah, I really do.
I do too. Another one for me, this one kind of comes with a story. I don't remember if I told you this one or not. This one's kind of funny. When I saw Creepshow, I told my dad, rent whatever scared you as a kid.
Yeah.
Because now I had balls. I was like, I made it through my first big horror movie, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And I could tackle the world now. I can watch them all. I said, Dad, go rent the scariest movie you've ever seen. And he goes, I can't do that. Scariest movie I've ever seen was The Exorcist, and you're not ready. So I went, okay, well, what scared you when you were a kid, when you were my age? He goes, that I can do. So he goes out, rents Frankenstein.
When this dead hand moves, the monster created by a man they called Mad is turned loose to strike terror into the hearts of men. To shock women into uncontrolled hysteria. To prey upon the innocence of children. This is the story you heard about, talked about. The spine-tingling, blood-chilling story that stunned your emotions. Frankenstein. Don't touch that!
1931.
Mm-hmm.
It's his childhood horror movies.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but I can't say that I wasn't disappointed. I'm like, you went and got a black and white movie? You know what I mean? I was that dumb kid who was like, you went and got something old and cheesy when I asked you to get something scary and color maybe.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I thought it was pretty cool. I did enjoy it. But the entire time I'm like, why did this scare you? Why was this creepy? It's just, to me, it's, by the time we were kids in the 80s, the image of Karloff, the square head, the bolts, was everywhere. It's practically on birthday cards. So it wasn't scary to me because it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing a Bela Lugosi. Dracula, everyone had a Hungarian accent. Mm-hmm. He's the blueprint. So it was so ingrained in pop culture. And I mean, we were even eating Frankenberry cereal. It was just, I was kind of like, oh, okay, And I dug it, but then it got to a point at the end during the finale in the windmill where Karloff takes a couple steps and then the fire brings like a beam down on him. And it's filmed sped up. And the first thing that popped into my head, Benny Hill. I swear to God. Because Benny Hill, all the chases were like sped up and it was just that sax.
Yeah.
And it was literally a millisecond of the movie that did that. And it caught me off guard, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. I thought it was absurdly hilarious. Mm-hmm. My dad was like, he was so disappointed. And I'm sure hurt, because he was sharing something with me, and I laughed it out of the VCR. And then when it was done, I added salt to the open wound, and I said, Dad, next time rent something scary. And he could have just been like, no, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, no, you shit on what fuck. And I'm not sure I wouldn't do that to my kids, which is funny because I feel like this day and age, I could show him Saw and he'd be like, really? And it's like, that's super graphic. Why, But yeah, at the time I said, Dad, just next time get something scary. And he went, okay. Week later, Friday, movie night, pizza night, just like you. And my dad, the foyer in my childhood house, you'd walk in and there was the steps up to the living room and then the steps to the basement. Okay. What he would do is he'd get home, hang up his keys on the key rack, and then put the movies on the first step downstairs. Come up and take a shower or whatever because he worked at a plant. I ran downstairs. I got to see what he got. What is this? The Thing.
Screenplay by Bill Lancaster. The Thing. The ultimate in alien terror. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
It's so nondescript. I'm like, you rented something called The Thing? And I bit my lip, but I'm like, well, you know what? I'm kind of flipping the case over, the little rental case. Mm-hmm. Rated R. Okay. So there's that. It's probably at least graphic. It's probably a little closer to what I was talking about. Certainly not going to be black and white, So I shut up. My dad comes out wordlessly, goes down, gets the tape. Me and my brother, my mom, we all go into the living room. And he goes, I got you something scary. And I said, okay. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, it's so scary, there's no name for it. It's just The Thing. And as most of you know who have seen The Thing, shit hits the fan quick in the dog kennel. Everyone knows the fucking dog kennel scene. When it got to that moment, my jaw dropped. Because I've never seen anything like this dog pulling itself apart, morphing, growing spider legs. I mean, the effects in that movie, that scene, are like, Jesus fucking Christ, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I felt like I was on a train that was jumping tracks. I'm like, I have no control over what's happening. My brother, Justin, shot out of the room like a bullet.
Yeah.
He was done. My mom, who I'm pretty sure had seen it, I want to say he told me later on that they saw it at the theater. She must have just forgot. As soon as it happened, she was just kind of like, yeah, I'm good. She got up and walked out. It was Dad looked at me and he goes, you want to keep going? And he totally earned it. 100%.
He definitely did.
You earned it, man. And he gave me that really condescending look like, I could shut it off. Is it too scary? Too scary for you? And instead I looked at him and I went, no. I was like, this is scary, but I like this.
Yeah.
I was like, this is terrifying. I said, Dad, this is what I wanted. And he was like, okay. And my mom was just like, well, if you guys finish it, go finish it in our bedroom so me and Justin can watch something else.
Yeah.
So we went into his room and we just sat on it, kicked back on his bed and watched it on his little, he had a smaller TV in the bedroom. And I loved it. Beginning to end, it was like one of the most intense, grotesque, fucked up movies I'd ever seen. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, I even told him, can we watch it again? He was like, no.
Yeah.
Rewind it. Let's go. Because my dad, when it comes to movies, he doesn't even understand why people collect them. To him, it's like, you've seen it. Move on. Why would you watch something over and over? That's kind of his attitude about it. So yeah, I was like, let's watch it again. And it's just, I'm one of those, I'll get off the roller coaster and be like, I'm going to get back in line.
Yeah.
Nope. He's just like, no. But he goes, so that's what you're looking for, huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, more like that, please. And he took it to heart. He would, eventually he was renting stuff like 1988's The Blob, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The Fly. I remember us going through the first 3 Aliens.
Okay.
At one point. So yeah, he made good on his word and he catered, but that was a lesson well learned.
Yeah.
And it's a story that goes around our family, it pops up once every 10 years or so, and we
Yeah,
all get a
that's
good
pretty
laugh
funny.
out of it.
Yeah.
But it's just that the thing was one where, like Creepshow, I could feel my creative molecules just unhinging and reforming. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. What can I do with this knowledge now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just happens to have been another Carpenter film, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But it
Why
was
would
just,
be?
I'd never seen, and to be honest, I've never seen a movie that so viscerally horrified me with its effects. Monster
Yeah.
effects in particular.
Flawless.
It was just so fucking
That's
cool.
why I think another episode will definitely be practical versus CGI. Would be a good debate.
That would be cool.
I think it would be. Yeah, I think it would be fun.
Yep.
So, well, yeah, man. I mean, I think it was another fun episode, kind of sharing our experiences
Yeah.
with movies that we fell in love with, and just
Always fun to look back. You know,
No, definitely
I
will.
I love doing it.
well, hopefully we can do the like the old CGI practical,
Yeah.
debate on the next one, because it is
An old debate.
It is
An old debate,
You know?
but we've got a lot of examples that we can pull from, pros and cons.
Yeah, no, we definitely do. Well, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Well, until next time, man.
Until next time, 10
All right.
down, buddy.
I know, it's crazy. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We're in double digits.
We are.
We're
Yeah.
big boys.
We're 10.
We're 10.
Yay.
Awesome.
We can start watching horror movies now.
Yay. You're right.
All right, man.
Go borrow your brother's card.
All right. All right. Until next time.
See you guys.